Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Well, welcome to this week's show. I am doing this episode from my hotel room here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the annual Consumer Electronics Show 2026. If you've been around in this channel for long, you know that I do this every year. This is 20 plus years I've been coming to the Consumer Electronics Show. Normally, I don't cover tech and new products and those types of things on this channel, except for once a year, and that is the Consumer Electronics Show. And it's not less about specific companies and what they've announced and whatever. You can go find that on thousands of channels on YouTube or on podcasts. What I'd like to talk about is really the trends that are emerging, and kind of give you my view, in my opinion, on what does that really mean for the innovation space. Are we really innovating, or are we just kind of regurgitating the same thing year in and year out? I do have some notes here that I'm going to be glancing at as we go through this today, and we will be splicing in videos that I took on the show floor and videos supplied to us by CES to kind of emphasize and give you a feel for what was here and what's going on. So, first of all, let's recognize that the Consumer Electronics Show, I think this is year 59 for it. It's a spin-off from the old Chicago music show, the late 60s. Yes, the late 60s. And that's gone through some gyrations, etc. And one of the few big shows that survived COVID. But, as usual, over the last as many years as I can recall, one of the big emphases is TVs, displays, home automations, new refrigerators, new washers and dryers, true consumer electronics, things that you would find and put into your home. And this year, there was no lack for any of that. The big manufacturers were here, along with a number of new, smaller manufacturers, new TV technologies. Micro LED is the new buzzword that was bouncing around here at the show. And it was just lots of them, as there is every year. Now, I'm a big TV guy, so therefore I definitely had to check that out and see what's going to be, or what could be, the next TV that I'm going to put into my house. Now, the one thing for this year's show that was just overwhelming was robots and AI. They were everywhere. I couldn't even tell you how many times we saw AI applied to things that make no sense, and some of them was actually pretty smart. But how many AI toilets do you really need at any given show? So, but on the robot side, it's all the ones we've seen, like cutting your yard, being able to automatically go out, find your boundaries. One was actually, the selling feature is that you could program in graphic designs, and it would cut your yard in such a way that you would have that graphic design appear in your yard. I mean, the other on the robotic side is we saw humanoid robots. We saw robots doing backflips, robots dancing with people, dancing hands where the fingers are moving, elements you could buy just the hands or the arms or the elbows and assemble your own robots. It was pretty crazy. Then we started seeing in some parts of the show the combining of AI and robots, interactive robots, where you could stand there and talk with them and point, and it would do whatever your command is. Pick up this item and move this item to someplace else. Not programming it through some controller, but simply by pointing and talking and being able to direct the robot to what it is you would want it to do. Now, one of the things that we've seen in past shows that was quite common was the big emphasis on electronic vehicles, EV vehicles. Now, this year's show the EV car market, we've seen the market kind of slow down, and it slowed down here at the show. However, what we saw in its place was really around two areas. One was this whole issue of commercial use of EVs, more in the line of hybrids, electric vehicles with combustion engines also simultaneously. One that I saw that I was really impressed with and spent a fair amount of time looking at was a fire truck that was supplied up onto the show floor by the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. This is a massive Oshkosh fire truck that was quite impressive. It's a hybrid. It uses the electric vehicle for high torque, high acceleration. And it literally shaves seconds in response time. Given it's a limited distance, it's just on the airport property. So if they would have a disaster or a fire where they would need to react quickly, the electric engine, electric motors, which are very, very high speed, can accelerate very quickly, could respond and get out there very, very quickly. And this one is one, there's like 15 of these things in the world, of which, like, I don't know, I try to remember, like 6, 7 of them are just at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport by itself. Spent a fair amount of time with that team there talking about it. Quite impressive. And this is a perfect example of smart innovation. Innovation that isn't just because it's shiny and new and you got to use it. Thinking about how you use it. When's the right design? When's the right innovation effort of the benefit of electric, but knowing that, use of combustion engine to run the water pumps, in this case, on this fire truck. The other area that we saw a lot of EV at the show was around motorcycles, and particularly dirt bikes. Where you're going out for the day and you can have some fun, low noise, so you're not using a combustion engine out in rural areas. Again, another example of good, smart innovation. Now, the other big area for the show was autonomous vehicles, not just EV vehicles, but vehicles that could operate themselves. And in particularly, again, autonomous in commercial use, like farming. John Deere, long history at doing autonomous farming, very accurate planting using GPS technologies. Caterpillar had a really interesting exhibit where they were actually live streaming in the use of Caterpillar machines doing autonomous mining. And they had these spots all over the world, and they were live streaming them into the booth. And you could see how the autonomous piece applies. Now, a lot of people think of autonomous vehicles as something new, Tesla being the innovator. Just to give you a data point on this, Caterpillar has offered autonomous Caterpillar vehicles since 1995. That's right. 1995, Caterpillar introduced the first version of their machines that could operate autonomously. That's to keep in mind. We all think something's new. It really is the perfect example of what is old becomes new as progress is made. And then we also stopped in. I had to take a look at Kubota. I'm a big Kubota fan, so had to stop in there. They had an interesting vehicle there at Kubota, which I thought was quite interesting. And it is applied to, again, a variety of different kinds of devices, tractors, even things you can do around a small ranch, like what I own in northern Colorado, where I'm trying to harvest hay and those kinds of things. It's something that fits into the factory. You don't have to be a big farm operation. You can also be a smaller farm operation and take advantage of these technologies. Now, there's obviously all of the normal other things that are at the Consumer Electronics Show. Thousands and thousands, rows and rows we saw of different types of Bluetooth speakers. Battery technology was a big thing, but a lot of it is just more efficiency out of lithium ion. There was some interesting booth on what they call paper batteries. It's literally paper, and you print the battery and then roll it up into the form factor you want. There's again, a variety of other somewhat interesting technologies, but the show in this case this year, it was overly dominated by AI everything, and robotics. Those would be the two fundamental themes. That was the walkaway after spending 3 days and like 45 or 50,000 steps in 3 days covering all the show floor space. So that's kind of my insight. As I wrap up this episode, again, this is my one time a year that I kind of geek out on all the technologies. If you have any questions or any of your own thoughts, if you were there and you saw something different and you would want to share it, go ahead, put a comment down below or pop on over to philmckinney.com and post a comment to the post there. Okay? And with that, thank you for taking the time. Next week, we will be back. We will be kicking off part 2 of the Thinking 101 series. We did part 1, wrapped that up right before the holidays. We are now kicking off part 2 of the Thinking 101 series. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and give us a thumbs up. It all helps with the algorithm. And with that, have a great time, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.